We are Piezas Unicas.
And welcome to our crib.
Art by Soph X Jewels is composed of both myself and Sophia. I'm Julianna Quihuiz, otherwise known as Jules, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers.
And I am Sophia Rivera, otherwise known as Soph, and my pronouns are they, them. Basically, we started out with learning how to make like sheet metal rings. So it was like basic stamping, basic sheet metal stuff. In April of last year, kind of sat down together, because we live together, so we've lived in this house for almost 2 years now. But we sat down together and we were like, how can we keep going with this jewelry thing?
I mean, at least for me, I've always been such a crafty person. I love to paint, I love to draw, I love anything that is arts and craft related my entire life. So when we took that jewelry class, like I know it was a little earlier in the morning, we'd have to get up, but
yeah,
like,
but it was so
worth it.
And I mean, for me at least, I've never been a crafty person, so finally going in there and finding the one thing that I was super passionate about, I was like, how are we gonna not be able to do this anymore? We had to figure out a way to keep going with it.
Kind of going back to that, I think that's really cool that you and I have such different orientations to the craft itself, and I think that's really visible in our product. So when we come together and like have our little brand together.
Exactly.
It just, so I think we were sitting in the living room and I was like, why don't we just do an Instagram page together?
Together, yeah, because we were thinking about doing it separately, and then we're like, we're both kind of going down the same path. Why don't we do it together? Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I think doing it together has just made the process so much easier for me.
Yeah.
I absolutely love Julie with my entire being, so getting to do this with her constantly, it's like we're always talking business. So
yeah, we're
like,
always talking.
At the end of the night, we finish our tasks, and then we're like, okay, but what's next?
I just got these molds here that I'm going to be using to make some floral earrings. I kind of like really just taught myself how to do resin, and I really loved it because you can just do so much. You can preserve so much in that resin. I work a lot with flowers and like floral and earthy items mostly, just because to me, obviously flowers are very beautiful and like the nature is very beautiful, but it kind of just like feels more so in tune with like my roots, and like I get to sit down and just like grind up some petals and like just feel really like in like one with the process. I'll come pop these out the molds, and then if I need to clean up any of the edges, if they're kind of like off or a little bit too over poured, I have a little handheld drill that I kind of sand down the pieces, and then from there it's just adding jump rings. You can add any more beads or detail if you want to go a little more extravagant in your piece.
We're going to be making a sterling silver ring. The setup of a ring, for instance, this one, you put a piece of metal surrounding the stone on top of the sheet metal, and that's called a bezel. So that's the setting that keeps the stone in. And sustainability-wise, I save as much metal as I can. I don't know if you guys can see here, I have copper, brass, nickel. This entire bag is full of silver scrap that I get from my work, so nothing goes to waste. Something I like to incorporate is crystals and stones. So crystals are super important to me. I've always been super into jewelry in that sense. So metal, if I could wear metal literally on my entire body, I would. I love metal so much. I love the vibe, the aesthetic, everything like that. But working crystals into it, that's a super important thing for me. Like the meaning behind it. So the energy of the jewelry, all the stuff that it gives off, you feel me? Some more work to clamp it on down. But we got a pretty little size 9 eye ring. So Piezas Unicas is unique pieces.
Yeah.
So basically, I don't know if you can tell looking at this, but I don't think we've literally ever made something twice.
It's it's hard to like, part of being big businesses is like in capitalism is just always mass producing it and making as much as you can. And so it's hard. Sometimes we keep our customs open and people want us to remake the same items over and over. Yeah. And it's great because yes, I get a sale and I get to pay my rent for the month. But at the same time, it's like, is this the kind of stuff that I just want to be making the same thing over and over? Like, there's so many possibilities. Let's do something new.
a big thing for us is our identities. So like we are both Latinx, we're both in the LGBTQ community, so we're always just trying to advocate for our communities. So I mean, getting to do our art and then also at the end of the day donate so much money to things that matter so much to us, like that's what keeps us going. So it's the social justice work and it's the art.
Art is such a central thing to so many people's lives that you don't even realize. There's so many different ways you can express yourself. Like Sophie and I, in our clothing and in our craft and everything, it's just like an extra reason to live, honestly.
Literally. Well, we hope you enjoyed. We're gonna go ahead and get back to our craft now.